in trouble. But I put out a lot of videos talking about how great this game is, and there's certain situations that I think are dumb as hell, and they're just like bad like design. And this is one of those examples, is this like collector move, right? So I can't for the life of me figure out why this move is in the fucking game.
Hi, I'm SoCal Honey Badger, and that was my intro.
We were going to do a collector 10-minute guide. That's probably going to come anyways, but I wanted to like discuss this because look at this shit, right? Look at this move. Okay? This move is awful. Okay, 16 frame low. It's plus 18 on hit. It's minus 14 on block. I was trying to find any kind of gimmick you could do with this, and you can't, right? Like, you can do this, right? Teleport. And that seems like a decent gimmick, but we looked at like what's actually happening under the hood. And on hit, right? So like forward 4 on hit is plus 18, but what the fuck am I going to get off of this? Right? Like, I'm not getting anything. It's useful in the corner. But at minus 14, I tried to space it to where it could be safe. But nope, Sub-Zero slide reaches from like the max range that I could hit this. So it's not safe to throw out there. And the plus 18 doesn't mean anything because they're pushed back so far that without the corner, I may as well not even be plus anyways. Like, they're like super far away for collector, right? I guess I could do this shit and kind of do like that to keep them out. Like, if I wanted to play a lamer game, then that's fine. But collector's pretty bad being lame. And the special move cancel, right? So we looked at that. And even with the teleport, right? So on hit, I teleport, and now because the plus 18 that I'm at for doing forward 4, that's sucked up by the animation of the teleport. So now I'm only plus 3 on teleport, but at least I can like, you know, enforce it and do something, right? But it still sucks because I'm giving up my plus 18 to be at plus 3 but closer. Right? I'm giving up a lot of the advantage that I get for throwing this risky ass move out for like less of an advantage, but I'm a little bit closer. But like this move has shitty range. So why would I use this as a gap closer? Like, why would I use this at the range there? Like, if I really wanted to, I could just do that. Right? I could do this. Like, he has better options at the best range that this move is going to be hitting. So teleport's a bad option. I was like, well, what about Bola, right? I could Bola cancel. That shit's like super interruptible in Death on Block too. So, going back to the teleport. The teleport, when he does the teleport, he's fucking minus 29 on block, right? So if I do this in the teleport, I'm minus 29. So, like, if I hit them, I'm at plus 3, which is, like, not really, like, it's not bad. That's kind of good, but it's not amazing. It's not worth risking getting hit by a punish, right? And if I do the teleport on block, I'm minus 29. So they could just, like, see that I'm a dumbass and hit me. And if I do Bola, right? If I do Bola, right? Like, the cancel is, like, minus... The cancel, it doesn't matter what they do the cancel on. If it's on block, you can pretty much interrupt it for the most part. There may be exceptions. I could be wrong. There could be like an exception or something. But for the most part, you can interrupt Bola cancels, right? So like forward 4 into Bola is like useless. Forward 4 into teleport is useless. Like, this shit will get you fucking killed, right? This shit will get you killed. They'll interrupt that. Like, you could get that out, like, maybe once. So it seems like this game, this is the problem with this game's balance, right? All of that is leading to this. This is the problem. They design these moves, right? And they just fucking suck, right? They're just bad moves. But they have all these mind games on these moves, right? And they're like, well, it's balanced because we made this move and, like, yeah, you have all of these options off of it, right? You can do this kind of shit, right? You could just stagger into grab. You're plus 18. There's so much you can do. But, like, all the things you can do just kind of suck, too. Like, you can't do anything good with it, right? So the move is bad. And, like, but it gives you all these options, right? It's like, oh, well, you have all of these things that you can do. But all of those options are just as shitty. So it's like, all right, well, like, if they guess wrong, then like, okay, sweet. Like if they don't block low at this range, right? If I land this low hit and I can cancel into teleport, good for me. I'm at +3. But if they block the forward 4 and I don't teleport, I die. If they block the forward 4 and I do teleport, I die, right? If they block the forward 4 and I do bola cancels, I die. If they block the forward 4 and I do bola and I let it rock, I die. If I do the forward 4 and the fucking fire, I die. It's like, if they block anything, it doesn't matter what my mix-up is. If they block anything, I die. If they get hit, I get this small, tiny, mediocre reward that, like, isn't bad, but, like, it's not something that I would build a winning strategy around. Like, you're not going to win matches based on being +3 a lot, right? Like, if you're +3, like, you'll get a hit, maybe, and then they'll hopefully, right, at high level, they'll just start blocking, and then now your +3 doesn't matter, and I'm trading that +3 to be -29 if I do the teleport cancel. And this is like, this is all over the game. There's like so many moves that it's like, oh man, there's so much play and counterplay. Too bad the move sucks in the first place, right? It's like, why would I lamb how to fucking beat this shit? Like, it's not good. And that's like for every good ass move, right? It's Collector. He's not an awful character. It's like you have this shit that's like cool, right? You got this shit that's like pretty decent, and then you have this shit. And you're like, why the fuck? And then I'm like, well, maybe there's a string. Is there a string? Like, nope, the forward 4 doesn't lead to a string. It's just one singular move that sucks. And there's a lot of things you can cancel into it or cancel from it, but they're all gimmicks and they all equally suck. And this is all over the game. NetherRealm, why do you make moves that suck? Please, NetherRealm, if you're watching this, explain to me, like, what the fuck forward 4 is supposed to do to help a Collector player win, because I can't for the love of God figure out what the fuck that move is for. See, that's the problem I have with the game, man. Like, you could say, okay, don't use that move. Just use the moves that are good. And I'm like, well, then why is it in the game? Like, why do you have moves that are just bad? Like, and again, maybe I don't play that much Collector. I'm familiar enough with the character to know what I'm doing in a match against, like, people that suck, like you guys, right? But I'm not like this Collector main. Even then, with my understanding of fighting games, I can't find a single use for this thing. Like, even with this shit, man, like, that shit's interruptible. Like, so why did they put in a move that is just not good? Right? Like, all it is it's a low that's mediocre in range and speed, right? It's not that slow. Like, it's kind of slow. Yeah, 16 frames for that range is on the slower end, right? It's at the 15 framers, right? So around this range, mids are usually between 13 and 15 frames. So it's on the slow end for the range that it's at, and it's a low. But, like, a low just means it's a mid, but you have to, like, block it stand or crouching. Like, lows don't serve the same purpose as far as mix-ups go in this game as they would in, like, Tekken or Soul Calibur, right? Lows are basically just kind of glorified mids in MK11. So it's a 16-frame mid that's, like, death on block that has no fucking string attached to it, and every special move you cancel it into is either unsafe or interruptible, or oftentimes unsafe and interruptible. And your payoffs for any of that is, like, mediocre. Like, if I hit this shit, right? Like, if that shit lands, it's not like I'm doing 30% on that. And that's the thing, is you can make the argument, oh, we'll just use the moves that are good. But I'm like, why make a move that's even bad? Like, why couldn't that move just be good and useful? Like, who designed it? What did they design it for? That's what I want to know. Maybe I just don't know how to use this fucking thing, right? Maybe I don't know how to use Collector's forward 4. But I can't for the life of me think of any reason why I would want to over any of the other options he has, which means that I'm not going to use it, which means I'm going to use even less moves in a game where characters' command lists are pretty fucking anemic, right? I'm going to use less moves because these moves suck, so I'm only going to use these moves. So, like, my small command list gets smaller. And that's, like, the problem that people have with the game is they're like, dude, it's kind of, like, basic, right? The command lists are too small. There's not much I can do. And then when someone says, oh, well, there's a lot you could do. You could use this move. And it's like, that move sucks. Like, I can do it, but why would I want to? Like, at the end of the day, instead of doing this shit, right, there's no reason I would ever do forward 4 in a game where I have forward 1, which has, like, the same range. Starts with a low. I can stagger it. I can do a string, right? I got strings on top of strings on top of strings. I got an overhead. I could do all the same gimmicks, the same bola cancels. And I can actually be safe. So, like, why the fuck would I ever use forward 4 over forward 1? Ever. There's no reason, ever. I can't think of any reason. And everything that forward 4 does, forward 1 does better, right? So not only is it an unsafe move, but it's a dead move because of overlap. And that's the problem with commandless in this game. There's a lot of moves that, like, they do something, but you have another move that does the same thing but better. So you just don't use that move. So your commandless just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's why I say the thing about this game is, like, it doesn't really need an overhaul, right? If you look at this animation, there's a lot of shit you could do with that. Like, maybe you could make this safe, right? It's just a 2-hit fucking move that you can hit confirm into a special move. So maybe make the second hit safe, right? Maybe make it safe, and then whether or not you cancel it and do something is where the mix-up of the unsafeness comes, right? But the move itself is safe, so you can kind of stagger it, right? Maybe, you know, maybe make it to where I can do that, and then, like, if I did it, you know, you're minus, like, 7, right? So, like, Sub-Zero could get it down 1, but for the most part, you're safe. Like, they could rebalance the move to add some kind of use to it, right? They don't have to overhaul the game. They don't need to, like, redesign every character. They just need to make these moves that are kind of, like, thrown in there, right? It seemed like with this move, they started with the animation first. They said, this is kind of a cool animation, right? He just throws the fucking mace at your feet, and it's a low. That'd be a cool-looking move. And then so they made the move, and they put it in the game, and they were like, all right, well, how do we balance this animation and not make it, like, super OP? So they balanced them. They designed the move around the animation, then balanced the move around that, not even thinking about the ecosystem it would reside within the game. They just said, we want this move, this is how we will balance it. Not, we want this move, okay, now what does this move do, and how does it interact with the mechanics of the game? It's just, okay, how do we make this move that we wanted to have in the game not be broken as shit? Well, let's make it kind of unsafe. I mean, it is a low. It is hit confirmable into combo launchers. So, like, let's make it unsafe. So that way if you just throw it out there, right, you have to commit. You got to commit, man. It's all about the mind games, right? But then, like, that doesn't take into consideration that he has forward 1, right? Well, fuck my controller. Right? Hold on. Fucking dumbass DualShock, right? But, like, this doesn't take into consideration that he has forward 1 that's, like, infinitely better. And it does the same shit. It's, like, got the same range, right? It's just about the same range. It's a low. It's special cancelable, right? I can do the same. Everything forward 4 does, forward 1 does as well. So, like, it should just not exist. There's too many moves like that in this game.
Hey, so, if you, follow YouTube enough, you know that they like to put weird stuff all over the screen for the last 30 seconds. So this is gonna fill that space. Yeah. Yeah. It's probably right there and there. All over the place right now. Yeah, go ahead and click that stuff if you want. And that's 30 seconds.